On January 21st, 2011, my second son was born. Of course, with that comes the myriad of questions that come with having a child. How big is he? Who does he look more like, you or your wife? Well, one question caught me a bit off guard. It probably shouldn't have surprised me. After all, I fielded the same question about my first child, but nevertheless, a tinge of guilt welled up inside me when I had to give my answer. Of course, it was my strong Catholic upbringing that installed this particular brand of guilt when I had to answer, no, we're not having him baptized. As the first and only two children born to my family's next generation, I knew it was a sore spot for my parents and grandparents, which is why it was never any of them who asked the question. They all knew that I hadn't been to Mass in almost a decade, but I still caught the offhanded comments by my mother, who longed for me to return to the church. It was not as if my relationship with the church had been a casual one. From the earliest days, I had a strong connection to the Catholic religion, and unlike my peers, I enjoyed going to church. Sitting in Sunday school, I'd listen intently to the stories and ask questions of my teachers, while my peers stared at the ceiling or whispered incessantly. I couldn't understand how they could completely ignore what all the adults around me were saying was the most important stuff in life. As I got older, I was met with challenge after challenge to my beliefs, but I always found a way to rationalize what I discovered. Did it matter that Father Joe was unpleasant to me and my family? No, he's only human, complete with his faults. Did it matter that moments after leaving Mass, people rudely bullied their cars through the parking lot? No. Jesus' disciples were constantly making mistakes. Looking back, I know there was a turning point for me. My senior year of high school. Even though I was 18, of course, I was still a child. My church scheduled two options for what they titled a confirmation retreat. This was a relatively new invention, but it was the church's policy that every candidate must attend. Unfortunately, the 2 weekends fell on my high school choir's tour and my prom. Suffice it to say, both things were important to me. I approached the director of the program to plead my case in advance. She rather coldly told me there were no exceptions. I can still see her in my mind's eye in her red polo shirt tucked neatly into her khakis, saying, "You'll just have to decide what's more important to you." I moved to a new church and stayed with them for a while, but it wasn't meant to be. I had started questioning my religion, and one once starts down that road, they rarely turn back. As for my children, if they wish to have their babies baptized, I'll gladly come to the ceremony.